Okay. We are now opening the meeting of the EDC. Maria, roll call, please.
Sherry Boyer is now absent. James Ellis,
Present.
Stephen Ehrman,
Here.
Madeline Fleury,
Here.
Justice Martin,
Present.
Archie McKee is absent, and we have a vacant seat. Also present, Jeremy Evans, Maria Bourgeois, Russ Kenyon, and Rachel Child.
Thank you. Accept the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? If not, we'll move on to public comment. Public comment. Rachel, Russell, Jeremy, anybody? Nope. Approval of the previous minutes, which you got in your packets. Meeting of July 13th. Any corrections or omissions or additions? If not, we'll accept a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of July 13th. I'll move. Moved by Steve.
I'll second.
Second by Madeline. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Minutes are approved of the meeting of July 13th. Bills and communications, Jeremy.
Just real quick, since our last meeting, we provided letters of support for various grant opportunities to the Village of Tupper Lake, the Foothills Art Society, the Village of Saranac Lake, the Adirondack Mountain Club, and the Adirondack North Country Association on behalf of the Center for Business in Transition. So it was a busy month leading up to the July 31st state CFA deadline.
Very good. Thank you. Without any approbation, I'll just suggest we've already been through the committee reports. If there's any committee chairman that wants to make a report now, signify by raising the question with us. Otherwise, we'll pass on to the treasurer's report. Anybody with committee reports that wants to make a report? If not, we'll go on to the treasurer's report.
All right, EDC treasurer's report. I don't have a lot. Well, no, it's right there. I don't have a lot to mention. I did want to mention that our current checking savings is $1.2 million and our total assets are 2.7. And our total liabilities are $791,000. You just to know, we are between with the number of these grants, as I mentioned, we're going to see a drop in our cash balance temporarily. Our team knows that we need to be seeking reimbursements as quickly as possible, and we're doing that. So that's something that'll go down, but it'll come back up. So you're going to see a lot of fluctuation over the next few months, but we're on it and making sure we're seeking reimbursement for our various programs.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Just a clarification, the reason when you look at the bottom line, when you talk about total equity, the reason for the significant drop was the return to the county of tourism funds.
Yep.
So that's correct.
Oh, yeah, well, compared to July 31st of last year, right? Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and then the 200 almost $250,000 between June 22 and July 22.
Yeah.
Because it was in that period that we made the payment back. to the
CARES
county.
Act. Well, from this July, just from this last year.
June 22 to July 22 on page.
Oh, yeah. On page 1.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
almost $275,000 difference.
Right. And that's a variety of things, but the tourism payment would have been a big part of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good. Is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report? Motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
Justice moves.
I'll second.
Second, Steve. All those in favor of accepting the treasurer's report, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. On to new business.
Old and unfinished business. We have one item.
Old and
Sorry,
unfinished.
yeah, and it's not on here. I apologize for that, but Maria had reminded us that we had wanted to have Rachel stop by one of our meetings and give the board a quick update on the training that she attended back in June.
Yes.
Hey, here's Rachel.
She's got a 75-minute slideshow,
Hey, all right. There you go.
video show ready to share for us. So sit back and relax.
Okay, Rachel. You're on.
Okay, so I attended the basic economic development course, which is put on by the New York State Economic Development Corporation. It was hosted in Albany at the end of June. It was 4 days of workshops and presentations and group projects. They assign you a case study that you work on in groups. The case study used to be Franklin County, so I was disappointed when I got there and it was Albany County, but that's okay. I learned more about Albany. Yeah, so covered various topics: community development, strategic planning, linking to global markets, organizational leadership, workforce development, marketing, small business development, incentives and other financial packages, downtown revitalization, and business retention. So out of all of that, I definitely, I got a lot out of it with all those topics covered. There were a lot of people from government, so that was great. Now I have an in with certain folks that in government, so that's helpful, especially as all these different grant programs get launched. So yeah, it was really great experience. Thank you to Jeremy for recommending that I attend. And looking forward to any other professional development opportunities as well.
Great. Rachel, did you bring back any ideas for us?
I do have some ideas, for some of our work that, Jeremy and I have talked about some of them, and we'll slowly start implementing little things here and there. But there are people there that also worked for LDCs that shared things that they were doing, shared materials with me that, we could potentially model. So definitely.
Great. I'd like to just plant an idea coming from the field of education, which is where I work all my professional life. I really would hope that there's some way that we could sit down with our people here in Franklin County who are in charge of education, primarily the BOCES, because it's the one agency that covers all the school districts in Franklin County. And of course, because we're small, we also add Long Lake and Hamilton County. We ought to be able to come up with some idea of a robust type of program that trains young people who don't want to go on to college to have a meaningful vocational opportunity. And I mean, there's just tons of places where you can't use 15 to 20 employees all at one time working for a large industrial firm. But you can train 2 or 3 to do something like our friend down in Fort Covington, cheese making factory. He really needs that kind of reach so he can get in there and get a couple of kids that might work. I'm sorry, here I go again. Teacher kids. So that's one. There are, every day I go by Sunmount and there's signs all over the place on the front. We're now hiring. What do we do to train kids who might want to find a great opportunity, great economic opportunity to go to work for the state of New York in some place like Sunmount that devotes itself to our disadvantaged citizens? It really, there's all sorts of places here where we can do things. And a young man who was one of my high school students is now in charge of one of the significant programs at the Clinton County BOCES, Jim McCartney. And Jim could wind up helping us, I think, with some real ideas about some of the places we need to look to be able to find things that would be necessary for us to train our non-college population for. One of our problems, you know, I graduated 162 kids when I was high school principal in 1982, 162, largest class we'll ever have. Last year, it was 48. Where did the other 114 go? Their parents moved out of town, no work. Well, maybe we ought to start thinking about having a way to bring these people back. Madeline could be a real resource for us, I think, in terms of just talking about what she had to do and her previous employment, working for a high-tech industry.
Right.
And nothing says that we can't take that 60,000 square foot building down in Bombay and make that ready for another industrial operation, but not just the industrial operation we had there before, but something a little higher tech. I think we're not doing our kids any favors. And I'm not talking about us here at the EDA or the Economic Development Organization, but we're not doing our kids any good by suggesting the only thing you can do is go to college. And if you don't go to college, you're a failure. But I think that's out there. And we have to change that, because those are the people that will come back here, be on our IDA boards, they will be on our boards of education, they'll fill government slots in town and village boards and in our county boards. So think about that for us. I'm pretty confident you're going to come up with something that's pretty fantastic. And I think with Russ too, and Jeremy and the rest of us guys that are on the board, Madeline, Justice, we can help you. That's what I'd like to see us do.
Yeah,
So-
workforce development is definitely really important. And the presenter who presented on workforce development at the course was very impactful and shared a lot of great information and resources. And yeah, it's very key to link people to opportunities that they might not know about that are here in the North Country, and preventing brain drain and keeping people here.
Yes.
It's good quality full-time jobs. Yeah, for
Yep.
sure.
I mean, there's a category, for example, institutional maintenance. I mean, that's something you can train people to do, whether it's going to be in a government building or a private building or working for a private firm that wants to keep up their buildings and wants to hire somebody to come to work for them. And down in Tupper Lake, I'm sorry, I get crazy about this. Down in Tupper Lake, I tried to get a contractor the other day whom I knew very well, done all sorts of work in my house. He told me, he says, everybody in Tupper Lake is 2 years out in the industry. 2 years.
Yep.
Where the hell do they all go? That's fast. All right, I'll get off that. But anyway, anytime you want to call me or even come down when we do things in Tupper Lake, as part of our tour of the county, come on down. We just had another inquiry I passed on to Russ the other day. I don't know what's going to happen with it for an industrial park lot down in Tupper Lake.
Mm-hmm.
So they're there.
Sure. I will take you up on that.
Hey, buy a cold beer at the Rocket River Brewery.
There you
What do you
go.
think of that?
Do a tour.
Russ, you too. I can't wait till we all get together at Tupper Lake. Lunch is on me. Okay,
So
Did you forget this meeting's being recorded?
I don't care.
Okay.
That's okay.
Everybody.
No, I just, if you renege on that offer, we're gonna just
Yeah, he's leaving
rewind
it.
this video.
I'm gonna use my wife's credit card. What the hell do I care?
Lunch for the 150 people, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, thanks everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, Rachel.
Gotta pound the pavement on the street.
All right.
Appreciate it.
We're now into anything old and unfinished that we haven't touched yet, Jeremy? Okay, let's move on to new business. Resolution 2022-24. Since we already did that resolution in the prior part of our meeting, I guess all we really need to do is call for a vote unless anybody has further discussion.
We
Is
do
there any
need a
further
motion to bring it to the
I'll
table.
make the motion.
Okay. We have a motion from Steve to pass resolution 2022-24, amend the employee handbook. Second. Second, anyone? Justice? Seeing no need for further discussion, we'll take a vote, roll call vote, Maria.
Okay, Sherry Boye is absent. James Ellis,
Yes,
Stephen Erman,
Yes.
Madeline Fleury,
Yes.
Justice Martin.
Yes.
Okay, Archie McKee is also absent. Resolution is adopted.
next is discussion or motion on resolution 2022-25 to purchase furniture. Someone make that motion, please.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Yep, so moved by Steve Erman to purchase furniture 2022-25. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Madeline.
In your absence, I asked Sherry if she had anything on her mind before she left.
Yes.
And the one comment she made on this, we had a little discussion before she left, and she said it all looked good, but it certainly looked pricey. And then Russ got to the idea that it's on state contract and needed. And then the point came up that this is going to be reimbursed through the DRI, through a DRI grant award. So it's not going to, it's out of the budget initially, but it's money back into the budget
Reimbursable.
once we make the purchase.
Right. Anything else by way of discussion? If not, we'll take a roll call vote on 2022-25.
Could I ask a question, Jim? Just this furniture is being purchased to use in the current carry and in anticipation
Right.
of the new carry that'll be part of the loft in the front
We'll
building
take
on
all of
Broadway.
this. Right,
Okay, then we have a much bigger space in the upcoming carry,
so we'll
which will require,
more furniture, right?
Right,
So
in
we're
a
just
brand
kind of, we're incrementally, and we're just building the inventory using the same furniture,
okay,
just more of it. Yeah.
okay, good. And that's gonna be a much bigger space to fill
Yes.
and more opportunity there. So, good,
Yeah.
thanks. Sorry, Jim.
No, that's fine. No, I'm glad you did. Thank you. Any further discussion? Maria, do you want to do a roll call vote, please, on 2022-25?
Sure, James Ellis,
Yes,
Stephen Erman,
Yes.
Madeline Fleury,
Yes.
Justice Martin.
Yes.
Okay, Sherry Boye and Archie McKee are absent, and so the resolution is adopted.
resolution 2022-26, Excelsior Rail Bikes loan modification.
So,
I don't think we can do that one because we won't have 4 people to vote.
oh, right,
I just realized,
Why?
2, 3, 4.
because Sherry left.
because Jim will have to recuse himself.
You got a quorum.
Well, unless
You're
you,
included in that quorum, and if you're recusing yourself, we don't have 4 votes.
What's that again?
Can you not vote on this, Jim, for some reason?
I think
Point of
you-
order, why do we not have 4 votes?
it,
Because
How
you
did
are
you-
number 4, and it's the rail bikes,
Did you
which you're a part of.
yeah, did you recuse yourself for last time?
No, I recuse myself from that vote which passed. This is a modification,
Oh,
and therefore I think it meets the smell test.
I have no opinion one way or the other, so unless, I
Well-
think that's for everyone's,
I'll tell you what, in order
Interest
for us
or
to
judgment
make
call.
sure we get this thing off the ground, I would suggest that I go ahead and vote with a thing from Matt McCardle.
well, so maybe what we should do is just provide a clear explanation of the situation
Right.
and your thoughts on the matter. And we move ahead and then we can ask Matt, but at least on the record, there's a clear explanation of how we proceeded.
Yeah, and
So-
just for the record, this is a $50,000 loan, which was made to Excelsior Rail Bikes. They have requested that we release a certain amount of 20,000 of that money to be used within the loan program. That in
Yeah,
other words, we're not
no,
approving anything.
Yeah, do you want Russ to explain it?
Go ahead, Russ.
Sure. So we originally approved this loan for the purpose of remodeling and establishing a ticket booth and some space, office space in the depot building to enable this, the rail bikes business to move forward. They had to put a pause on their original plan while they worked out some lease terms with the town of Tupper Lake. That has since been resolved to their satisfaction. And in that meantime, there was a parcel that became available adjacent to the depot property along a adjacent road that will provide additional parking for the rail bikes business. It looks like a feasible use for that property. It looks like it would complement the project and enable its success. And so they're asking not to revise the loan amount, but simply the uses to allow them to use some of the funds to purchase that parcel. And so it was recommended to the loan committee, and the loan committee has recommended it for approval.
So what Maria was referring to is that you, as the chair, recused yourself from the original vote on this matter because of your position as a member of the board of directors.
The board
And I
of
think-
directors
Of the
Excelsior Rail Bikes?
of the railroad
ARPS.
So is it-
Adirondack Railway Preservation Society
Society.
is the cap organization for all these other.
So what I was suggesting is that if you feel comfortable voting, that at least we put out here and make sure anyone who's watching or watches later understands the explanation. So that's your position on the Preservation Society Board.
Right.
Can I ask a question about
Yeah.
that? The Railroad Preservation Society, which is the owner of the railroad, not the track, but the railroad itself, the operation.
Right.
Does ARPS have a financial interest in Excelsior Rail Bikes, or is Excelsior Rail Bikes an independent company?
It's.
Excelsior.
Go ahead, Russ, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say Excelsior Rail Bikes is a separate LLC, but it's solely controlled by ARPS.
Okay. Important for the record.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I also will be, I would be remiss if I didn't say that we are an unpaid board. ARPS is an unpaid board. We're all volunteers. We receive no remuneration at all for the work that we do. Therefore, having done that, I feel comfortable enough to be able to vote on this. Because if I didn't, we wouldn't be able to pass anything or get the work done.
Right. And I'm certainly not in the position to
No, I
pass
understand.
judgment on that.
I will
So
be guided by Mr. McCardle's review.
I just felt it was important to put all that,
Oh, yeah.
those facts
think
out
so.
on the table. And if the board chooses to move ahead, then that's fine.
Can we just talk about timing of this? Is it a critical matter that decision on this be made this month rather than next month or a special meeting?
I think we should let Russ answer that to the best of his ability.
Well, from their perspective, time is of the essence because they've been kind of given the first option on the property, and they want to take advantage of that as quickly as possible rather than allowing the property to go on the market. So that's sort of the timing. A week might not make a difference. I'm not sure, but I would certainly like to respond to them before the next month's meeting, if possible.
Here's my suggestion, because I was involved in email traffic going back and forth within our organization. we have a special meeting coming up,
Likely.
okay? Therefore, I would suggest, if someone would make the motion, that we table this
Right.
until the next special meeting.
I will make a motion to table this until the next meeting of the board, thereby allowing our chairman to exercise his right to recuse himself from this matter, if that's his choice.
So you're tabling the resolution.
Tabling the resolution. Motion to
You need
table.
a second then?
Motion to table by Steve. Did you make the motion?
Justice
Or
second.
Justice, I'm sorry.
No, Justice
Justice
second.
made the motion, second?
I made the motion, Justice second.
Justice is the second.
Justice is a second, okay. All those in favor of tabling, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Therefore, since the motion to table requires at least 1/3 of those voting, then we have a unanimous opinion, so we're all set.
Okay.
This is tabled till our next meeting. I'm assuming the next meeting being a special meeting.
We are likely in need with one, yes.
And,
Yeah.
and in the meantime, you can also call Matt McCardle and get his
We
opinion.
will. Yep.
We've covered everything.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next, our resolution 2022-27, small town entertainment interest only approval. I believe that was recommended for us by the finance committee.
Did we get a motion second first?
Not yet. I just want to,
Oh, okay.
by point of information.
Was it recommended by loan committee? Yes, it was.
Yes.
Okay,
I'll make the motion.
motion made by Steve. 2022-27, second by Justice. Maria, can you do a roll call vote?
Sure. James Ellis,
Yes.
Stephen Erman,
Yes.
Madeline Fleury,
Yes.
Justice Martin,
Yes.
Sherry Boye and Archie McKee are absent. The resolution is adopted.
Thank you. Anything further to come before the Economic Development Corporation? If not, I'll remind you that the date of our next meeting is September 14th, 2022. Therefore, motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Justice says yes.
Second.
Second by Steve.